Okay, welcome to the video. What we've got here is a springtime lawn renovation from last year, so probably late April 2019. Now this is a lawn that's been damaged through that hot summer of 2018, if you remember. So I'm really starting the ball rolling here by just scarifying the lawn, just to get out any dead thatch that's in there, any moss. Not that there's that much moss, but more so to create a seed bed for the overseeding, which is going to take place in a little bit. So I'm going quite deep on this, and I'm really going to town with the scarifying. So when scarifying, you always want to do 2 passes, particularly if you're going to be overseeding and what have you. So I've done 1 pass, and now I'm clearing up the debris. I'm not massively going to town on it because, as I say, I'm going over again, and I'm just getting the worst of it up. And then once you have scarified, you then, on the second pass, you want to actually go diagonally. You don't want to be going up and down and then side to side, and you don't really want to be doing multiple times either. So as you can see, I've gone up and down, and now I'm going diagonally. Of course, on the second clear up, that will be a lot more detailed, looking to get every last little bit of thatch up, and you can really see now how bad the lawn actually is. And you know, that's 2 passes, and that's quite a lot of debris coming up. So there's actually quite a lot of thatch in there. So as I say, you know, you can see the amount I'm getting out and putting it into the bag. On the second pass, that's a lot for a very small lawn. You can see all the scars and all the bald areas. So before I do any more, once I've cleared up, what I'm going to concentrate on doing is levelling those areas off. Now, in this part of the lawn, there's what I would say a sunken area. So I'm going to write this before we carry on. So as you can see, it's sunk in the middle. So there's a couple of ways of dealing with this. One would be to just fill the area with soil and then seed it. But I think that much seed, you will always see a difference between the rest of the lawn, and what I want to do is blend it in a bit more naturally. So what I'm using is an edging iron here, and I'm basically just going to dig out turfed squares, put them to the side, fill the dip up with soil, and then put the original turfs back down again, but this time it will be level. Now, as you can see, the ground's pretty dry, so it's a little bit tough with the shovel, especially in trainers. Work boots are better when you're trying to kick in a spade. But what this will do is it will just blend this area in a little bit more naturally than what it would do if I was to just rip it up and turf it, or to completely seed that area. Now I'm going down deep. I don't want to damage the roots too much, so as you can see, I'm taking a good slab out, and the idea is to take them out, put them to the side in the order in which that they come out in, so that way you can put everything back exactly how you got it. And you can see I'm just working out my my strategy of how I'm going to do it. Although you can agree it looks pretty messy, but I know where they're going to go back. So now that's done, wheelbarrow soil straight in the middle. I'm just going to move it around a little bit, and then walk it in. So tread it down so it's nice and compact, so it won't sink at a later date. As you can see, I'm just walking in, really putting pressure on my heels to push in that soil as firmly as possible. And again, just knock it around a little bit and then walk it in again. And you do this a few times until you get it exactly how you want it. Of course, remembering to keep the soil in the middle more so than the edges, because obviously that is the deepest part. And now I've trod the soil in, I'm now going to put the turf back and then just whack the turf down just so it's all nice and firm. This bit's a little bit like a jigsaw puzzle, but as I say, it just makes a much more natural job of levelling areas. And at the moment it looks a little bit rough, but we will dress this area out in a bit, and then by the time it's all been watered in nicely, you won't see those scars anymore. So now what I'm doing is just taking the top dressing and I'm just looking for those low areas, or those areas that have really been damaged by it, all the scars that have been damaged by that real hot sun of 2018, and I'm basically just pushing that soil around just to level those areas out. So really isolating the really bad, the really poor areas. And this soil is from a company in Chichester called Earth Cycle. It's a top dressing that, well, it's the best top dressing I've come across, although I actually get it from my local suppliers, which is called Lindsay Clark Brothers, which actually works out cheaper because Earth Cycle's delivery charge is actually very expensive. I get quite a few questions about the rake. Where did I get a landscaping rake? I have two. One is from Rigby Taylor, where I get the majority of my fertiliser, seed, weed killers and things like that. But I also got one just from my local dealer. And as you can see now, I'm really going to town on that area I've just levelled, putting a real thick dressing down now to just level out any blemishes or scars left from the turfing. So now everything's pretty level. I'm just going to seed the whole area. So seeding the grass areas as well as the areas that have been top dressed, or levelled should I say. Again, grass seeds from Rigby Taylor, as is the fertiliser I'm about to use, which is a pre-seed fertiliser which is high in phosphate, and the spreader is also Rigby Taylor. The great thing about using a Rigby Taylor spreader with their products is that you don't need to do any calibration, because it has written down exactly what setting you need. I have done another video on that, so go check that one out. So now all I'm doing is, now everything has been seeded, pre-seeded and the levelled, I'm now just going to top dress the whole lawn with the remainder of the soil. So at the minute I'm just spreading it around the soil or barrowing it out, just putting little piles here, there and everywhere, and then with the shovel just dressing it out, just spreading it out evenly. And this is just going to protect the seed and also help it germinate. Whenever you do a seeding job, you always want to get the seed in contact with soil, whether that's by using a scarifier to create a seed bed, or an aerator to punch some holes through so you can drop the seed down into the soil. But just throwing it down on the grass, it's really going to struggle. So as you can see now, I'm just moving it around, just looking for any green areas, just to get that soil spread out. Now once it's out, of course this doesn't look great at the minute and it's not particularly even, so I'm just going to use the back of the rake now, and now really just work it into the soil, but also look for any areas where I haven't managed to get any soil yet, and just push it into those areas just to give it a nice finish, and make sure that there's seed in contact with soil throughout the lawn. Obviously this bit's been sped up a little bit. And of course the most important thing once this is all over is to water it in. I always recommend when you water in the first time is that you actually do it by hand, just to dampen down all the seed. If you were to put a sprinkler down and then just walk away, you might find that you end up with a lot of it running away, with a lot of runoff. So just the first couple of times, really monitor it just to dampen it down. Once it's dampened down, then you can set up a sprinkler. Or if you only have a sprinkler, just make sure you monitor it. You can see the area there, how that's really dressed out. And I think a good job done by all. Well, thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Any questions, don't hesitate to put them in the comments below.